What's up, guys? Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the My Bloody Valentine Ultimate Miner figure. Now this is made by NECA Toys and it's part of their ongoing line of Ultimate action figures. Now this particular one is based on the 1981 movie. Just taking a look at the box, it's got that glossy black Ultimate box, which doesn't necessarily wear the best. This box has a little bit of damage, so bear with me on this one. But you do get the logo at the bottom. It just says Ultimate Miner underneath that. You get this really cool image from the movie. It says, "There's more than one way to lose your heart." That's the tagline for this particular movie. You do get the movie logo on the sides, Ultimate Miner, NECA Real Toys logo. Same thing on the other side, and also same thing on the top. Ages 17 and up. You got a bunch of credits on the bottom, a little bit of dust. This tells you who's responsible for making it. You got the UPC on there. Over to the back, you get some really cool pictures of the miner himself. Give you a little description of some of the items that come with him, as well as a little read-up of the movie. You do get a hang tag on there, in case you want to hang it on your wall. Over back to the front, you do get the standard Velcro enclosure, so you can see the figure clearly displayed on the inside with his accessories, and then you get this really cool picture of the figure himself, kind of standing on the track for the mine cart. So this is one of my favorite horror movies from the 80s. I love watching this on Valentine's Day in particular. But I wanted to review this right before Halloween. So if you're watching this on its premiere, happy Halloween. So let's go ahead and get this out of the packaging and have a closer look. Alright, so here he is outside of the packaging. And you do get a backdrop with him. I always like to show these with these figures, just in case you like to do toy photography. And you basically just get the inside of the mine, so you can see some of the lights and just a little bit of a shot of just the long corridors of this mine. So pretty cool looking. Alright, so on with the review. We'll go ahead and start by taking a look at the head sculpt. And this is a very cool head sculpt. I've always admired the look of the miner. He just has a very distinctive look with the gas mask and the helmet, and of course he does have the light on top. Now the light itself is not an LED, which is a little disappointing, so I think it'd be cool if they do release this figure again. LED head sculpt would be really cool, but I really do like the look here. You got the goggles, which are a little reflective with my light, so apologize for that. You do have a little bit of blood on the breathing apparatus, which is really cool. And you can see like the different metallic paint on there. But again, you can see the blood kind of on the mouth guard itself and a little bit on the respirator, like the hose. And then just over to the side, you can see some of the different like straps and buckles that you see. Just kind of like the straps that go around his head from the mask, which looks really good. The light itself, even though it doesn't have an LED in it, I'm sure you can make it look like that. And I do like how they painted it with a kind of yellow around the edges where it gets a little more white toward the center, kind of giving the illusion that it's actually lit. So good attention to detail. And then over to the other side, again, same kind of details with the straps and the buckles, kind of just connecting the mask. I really do love the mix of black and silver here. It just looks very realistic. And really good details on the helmet. You could see like some of the little, like, I guess they're like rivets. Just really nice details all around. And then over to the back, again, really nice details, a little bit more of that black and silver. And you can see how the mask kind of connects around his head and along with the helmet. And you can even see a little wire kind of going down from that light, and I'll show you more details on that. But they actually made a wire connect to another piece, so it's very realistic the way they designed it. Now, one thing about NECA is they definitely tend to go above and beyond when it comes to accessories and head sculpts, and this figure is definitely no different. So one thing I was really surprised to find out with this guy is they actually gave him a removable helmet, which is really surprising. So you just kind of lift up here, and then this whole thing kind of comes off as one piece. Now once you have the mask off of his head with the helmet, there is a little glue that is connecting the mask to the helmet, so if you're a customizer, you could definitely separate this. Just keep in mind that you also have that wire that's holding the flashlight part to a piece on his side, like on his hip. But yeah, if you wanted to, you could probably separate those. You could probably just put just the helmet on or just the mask on, or if you want to use this for a completely different figure and go crazy with customizing, you'll really like this. You could probably turn him into like a G.I. Joe or something. But it's really cool that they did this. I just think it's, again, above and beyond what's expected. And it makes for a really cool accessory. And even though they didn't have to give us this face sculpt, I really do like it. The details are nice. I like the look. Now, if this was an actual character in the movie, it probably wouldn't have had that cover over his face. It would just be like kind of like a cap that goes around the side of his head and the top. So at the end of the movie, you do see who it actually is. And then in the beginning of the movie, you do see Harry Warden's face, both of which are not wearing a face covering like around his mouth. This could have been probably like what the stuntman was wearing. That's my guess. But again, it's really cool. It kind of keeps the mystery alive. You really don't know who this character is. Just for a couple more quick looks, here is the ski cap from the side. And again, really nice wrinkling, nice texture detail. And then over to the back, you can see just like a bit of a seam going down the center of it, like a stitching seam that you would see in a mask like this. And a little bit of wrinkling in the actual mask also. Taking a look at the torso, you do have the pouch on his left side of the hip, and you can see where that tube connects into his breathing apparatus, which is really cool. Nice details on there. Definitely looks very realistic. Definitely like that detail. Be a little careful with that. It seems like it's pretty strong, but just be mindful that it's, you know, it can become a problem if you were to tug hard on it or just not mindful of where it is. And then on his right side hip, this is where he controls that light that's on top of his helmet. So you can see the lights in the front. Then there's a wire that comes all the way down into that pouch. So again, really nice details. Now this wire, I would definitely be a lot more concerned for because it's very thin. So again, just try not to tug or pull on any of this stuff because you don't want to disconnect that. Looking at the rest of the details in the torso here, you do have those typical NECA staples where you basically have a lot of wrinkling and texture, a lot of different sculpting going on, which looks fantastic. He has a bit of like that Michael Myers type of mechanics outfit going on. It's basically the same thing that all the different miners would wear. Nothing really different between these. But again, really nice details. Got the breast pockets. Again, a lot of wrinkling. He's got that popped collar, kind of like the Michael Myers look. You do have two different belts. You got one for the breathing apparatus and then another one for the power source on the helmet. So he's all fully equipped. But again, just really nice details. Over to the back, again, more of that wrinkling, really nice texturing going on. No real blood or anything like that, just basic miner's outfit. Again, just really nice texture going on. You can see the different belts. Kind of like a light brown, kind of tan colored belt. The gloves look really nice too. Great texture, kind of got that wrinkled look to them. Kind of creepy, honestly. Something about these hands just looks super creepy. So him holding that heart-shaped box is going to be a cool picture. You kind of have like almost like a gauntlet type look because it's like a longer glove. But yeah, really nice texture. Love the gloves on this. Now, one collector's note about this figure is on the back of the box it's listed that he includes interchangeable hands. However, he does not include interchangeable hands. It's not just your figure that was shorted. It's not my figure that didn't come with him. On the back of the box, even though it says that, they basically made a typo or decided not to have the interchangeable hands. Now, if you look at the back of the box, the pictures don't show any other hands, so my guess it was probably a typo on this figure. Alright, and finally down to the lower part of the figure. Just taking a look at the legs here again. Really nice details in the pants. Some different wrinkling going on. He's got those classic kind of like combat boots that look really good. I like the little bit of weather to them. And the outfit itself does have a little bit of weathering, a little bit kind of dirty looking just from being down in the mine. Again, no real blood detail except for really in the mask. I don't see anything else that's kind of glaring. And then over to his backside, again, really nice details going on in the pants, different wrinkling going on. Does have a couple back pockets. But yeah, really nice detail on this figure in general. You do have a couple peg holes in the bottom of the feet, some really nice tread detail. Okay, so taking a look at the articulation for the miner, you do get some really good articulation in that head sculpt, even with that mask. You just have to be careful when you're turning it, but he can get some pretty cool looks with that. He can look down a little bit. The collar kind of impacts it from looking down too far, and he can look up really far too. Now, if you take the helmet off of him, you can get a lot more looking down, looking up, and then again he can move his head around a bit. So you do get some, maybe a little bit more mobility without the helmet, but it's not a whole lot. You just get some really nice movement in there. You can turn the head to the left and right, just be mindful of the hose and that wire. The arms function pretty good. Go out almost all the way. Don't go all the way up because of the shoulder piece. They can go down pretty far, but you know, of course, those like hip pieces do kind of get them from, they can keep them from going all the way to the side. You do get that classic NECA double hinged elbow. And you do get a little rotation on that as well. So you do get some pretty good movement there. Hands can go in and out pretty good. Twist around, no problem. He can look down a bit, look back. Can't really twist or move to the side much. The belts do move, so his legs can go out pretty far. Because the belts move, these can move up a little bit. Go down pretty good. Kick out about that far. Single jointed knee. The boot itself does have some articulation. Can't go up far, go down a little bit. And it does rock side to side a little bit, not much. A little bit of thigh swivel. Not bad for a miner. I mean, it's the outfit, again, it's like that Michael Myers type of workman's outfit, so it does kind of limit a little bit, and NECA's kind of going for the aesthetic. I do like the double hinged elbows. They'll definitely help a lot with some of those different poses, especially the pickaxe. Alright, so taking a look at the accessories for the miner here. Again, there is no interchangeable hands, so we're going to get 4 different accessories, 3 of which were weapons, and 1 is just something for him to hold, or maybe for another figure to hold. So you do get his pickaxe, of course, which is his classic weapon, and it is a really cool size. I'll have to look at like the Part 2 Jason version, but I think that one is a little bit smaller than this. But I like the wood handle. You can see like that metal piece connected to the blade is pretty big on here. Again, no blood on this weapon or any of the other weapons, so you really just see it on that mouthpiece. You can see he is holding a knife, which looks really cool. Pretty good looking knife, just black and silver. There's a fuller on one part of the blade. It's got that black handle. He also has what they call a drill, but I'm pretty sure this is a nail gun. I know he kills one of the miners that goes down later in the movie just as like, just to have fun. Him and a few other people go down there. But he gets shot in the head twice with this thing. He like takes it, you know, like a man the first time, but that second time pretty much takes him almost completely out of the game. But it's pretty cool. It's got that weird square silver plate, and then it's got some black and silver, mainly silver in the middle of the gun and at the end. But like I said, they call it a drill, but I definitely see him load nails into it in the actual movie. So I'm not sure if that's just the wrong term, or you could just use drills with it too. It's definitely a weird tool. And then the final accessory you get is that heart-shaped box, and it looks really cool. And they really went all out with this heart-shaped box, which they should, because it is a very big part of this movie. Just looking at the outside of the box, you do get a little bit of like flowers on there with some kind of bow underneath. A little bit of like a kind of a floral design to the box itself. It does have kind of like a scalloped edge to it, like the way they cut the heart itself. And then again, just like kind of like a floral design. Now what's really neat about this box, which makes it super cool, is that the top, the lid comes off. And then once you take it off, you can see that bloody heart inside of that box, which is true to the movie. So very, very cool details. Very important accessory. It's done right, so I'm really happy with that. Nothing on the other, like the inner part of the lid, just white. But yeah, great accessory. You only ever see him hold the knife in his right hand, so here he is holding that knife, and he does secure it pretty well. And here he is holding the drill or nail gun, whatever you want to call it. And since he does have kind of like these trigger finger hands, it does fit really well. One cool little detail is it actually does say NECA on the handle of this gun. It actually says it on both sides too, which is kind of interesting. So if I had my guess, those interchangeable hands we were supposed to get probably were for this heart-shaped box. Now he can hold the heart-shaped box, but he kind of have to force it a little bit. It doesn't quite fit the way I would hope, but he can hold it, which is important. So here he is holding that heart-shaped box, and you can see what I mean. He can't quite grip the sides of the box, but it definitely looks okay. So I'm okay with this. And if you want to get creative, you can have him hold both parts of the box. You can have him like taking off the lid and holding the heart. You just have to kind of, put it between the hose and kind of pinned up against the hose just right. But he can hold both sides. And last but definitely not least, here he is holding his classic pickaxe. And he pretty much kills most of the people in the movie with this weapon in some way or the other. He also does it double-handed or single-handed, just depending on what he feels like. But I have him in the double-handed pose, which is really cool. It works very easily. His hands open and close pretty good. It's kind of like that little bit softer plastic. Not too soft, but it's able to, you can open his hand a bit to get it in this pose. And again, I do like that double-hinged elbow. Kind of helps get this pose a little easier. For the first comparison, and I have to do an in-box comparison for this one, here he is next to the retro My Bloody Valentine Miner, also made by NECA Toys. And you can see they do look very similar, but the retro version is a little bit bigger, and then it has the real fabric clothes. So there is a little bit of a difference between these two. Some of the same accessories anyway, so if you're a fan of the retro line, I definitely recommend picking up that version as well. For the next comparison, here he is with another NECA Toys miner figure. You have the Toonie Terrors miner. And even though this is in that cartoon style, you can definitely see the similarities with the two belts and the boots. Just really cool to see these. And it's nice to have all these My Bloody Valentine figures. For a long time we had nothing. So now we have the Ultimate, the Retro, and the Toonie Terror. For the next comparison, here he is next to a couple other NECA Ultimate figures. You have the Part 2 Jason with his pickaxe, and you could definitely see a difference between his and this miner's pickaxe. And one thing I really like about the miner is that articulation. You can see Jason doesn't have quite as good of elbow articulation to hold that weapon. And then here he is with the Nightmare on Elm Street 1 Freddy Krueger. And I do think they scale really good next to each other. Here he is with a couple older NECA figures. So you have Brittany Murphy when she was in Sin City, very cool damsel in distress figure. And then you have Evil Dead 2 Ash, and again, a really cool figure for different pictures in case you like to do toy photography. He's got the blood going on, and she's kind of scantily clad, so just fits in perfect with that 80s horror. Alright, for the final comparison, here he is next to some other gas mask wearing characters. So for 6-inch, you have the G.I. Joe Classified Big Ben figure, and then you also have a 7-inch scale Resident Evil Archives Hunk figure. And he is 7-inch scale, but he's a little small next to the Miner. But they all look pretty cool next to each other. I like seeing the different masks. Alright, so that's my review of the My Bloody Valentine Ultimate Miner figure. And I'm pretty happy with this one. It's definitely, like I said, it's one I've had on my want list for a long time. As soon as they made that retro and then the Toonie Terror, I just knew this Ultimate was destined to happen. And I think NECA's done a really good job with it. It is a little disappointing that you don't get that set of interchangeable hands, but I really think they went above and beyond by giving us that removable mask and helmet. And honestly, if I had my choice, it would definitely be that over the interchangeable hands. It's just a really cool little extra detail. It's almost like an overbuilt action figure, but it's just classic NECA. They just have always gone that little extra mile to give us more detail than you can actually expect. If they do make another one of these figures, I do think it'd be awesome if they could either give us some interchangeable heads of the different people that have been underneath this Miner costume, or if they could give us one of those heads that has the LED in it for the flashlight. I think that would really sell the figure. That's the one thing I do think is missing from this action figure, is just having that LED light working on the actual head sculpt. I know it's not easy and it's not cheap to make that, but I think if enough people buy this figure, it would definitely be incentive to buy a second one. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with this figure. If you like My Bloody Valentine, or if you just like the character or the character's design, I highly recommend picking this one up. Like I said, I am hopeful we get one more down the line, hopefully with that working LED headlamp. Maybe those interchangeable hands we didn't get, and some blood on the figure or the weapons would definitely be a welcome addition. While I would love to see unmasked figure head sculpts of the different characters that were underneath this mask, I don't see that happening, but I do like that they kind of gave us that removable mask anyway. It's cool for just different ways to display them on a shelf, and it might give people incentive to buy a second one. So thanks for watching my review. If you liked it, go ahead and leave a like. If you have a comment or question, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below. And until next time, guys, see you.